What's up, everyone? It's Maximilian. I'm back with a vengeance. I suppose. Except, I don't know. I guess there's really nothing to avenge. But yes, I'm back. I had life catching up to me. Even though I'm taking really easy classes, I suddenly found myself having to work a little bit. So it caught me a bit off guard. But don't worry, I'm not dead. The first one you're going to have to get for this episode is Star Me. I happen to have a Star You from Ditto Glitching, as per usual. I happen to have pretty much everything. But if you don't have one, go fishing with a super rod either on the beaches of Fuchsia City, just south of the city, or on Seafoam Islands, and you will get one in no time. A water stone will make it a Star Me, and that takes care of that. The next one we have to get is Mr. Mime, and you can't actually catch Mr. Mime, you're going to have to trade for it. You're going to have to trade an Abra, so go to Cerulean City in that patch of grass on Route 24, and you're going to find yourself an Abra, hopefully without too much trouble. I just happened to walk in and get it on my first try. Yay me. Got rather lucky this episode, except for when I was Ditto Glitching. The Ditto Glitching took forever, but anytime I needed to find a wild Pokemon, it's just like bam, right there, every time. But to trade that Abra, you have to go to Viridian City, and if you walk just to the north, not quite before you get to Viridian Forest, but just south of where you go to Viridian Forest, if you cut down a bush and just keep plowing your way through the bushes and the buildings, eventually you'll get to a small house that's close to the entrance of Pewter City. And you'll be able to trade with this dude who's got a Mr. Mime. And that's how you're going to get that guy. And you're going to have to trade again. There's one more Pokemon you have to trade for, and that's Jinx. That's going to be coming up next. So, just a little bit of, it'll give you a bit of a head start on right here. Go to Pallet Town and fish with a Super Rod for a Poliwag. Give it a couple rare candies and make it a Poliwhirl, because you'll have to trade that for a Jinx. And the place where you trade for Jinx is actually in Cerulean City. It's that house that's just to the left of the Pokemon Center. The one that you always kind of wondered, well, what is that house actually doing there? Like, what purpose does that serve? Well, that's where you're going to get your Jinx. Now, on a side note, I hope you guys like Ditto Glitching a lot, because this section of the Pokedex is just ripe with Ditto Glitching. The last, 15 Pokemon or so, if you haven't already gotten yourself like a Dratini or something, that's not too hard to come by. But for pretty much the last 10 or 15 Pokemon or so, they're all like legendary / you can only get one of any of them in a game. So Ditto Glitching is very much prominent in this next section of the Pokedex, so fairly be ye warned, patience is a requirement. As I found out when I was recording this. It took so long, so unbelievably long to get through all that Ditto Glitching. Apparently the world is like on a shortage of Dittos or something because I've been glitching so much. It took me like 15 minutes at a time just to find one Ditto for every time I had to glitch. And we had to do it like, 5 or 6 times this episode. Fortunately, though, we have a few Pokemon we can get before we have to Ditto Glitch. One of them is Electabuzz. For some reason, I hadn't actually seen one the entire game, and I have no idea how that was possible. But I guess I hadn't seen one. It wasn't on my Pokedex. But that is what number 125 is. It's Electabuzz. You can only get it in red. So if you're playing blue version, you'll have to Ditto Glitch for that one. But if you're in red, you're going to have to walk around the power plant for a while. They don't pop up too often, so it may take some patience on your part, but you will encounter one eventually. Now the next one you have to get is going to be Magmar, which you can consequently only get in blue version, so if you're playing red like me, you have to Ditto Glitch for it. And the special values I'm displaying for all the Pokemon that I'm using before each Ditto Glitch, so if you want to go back and pause the video, check the special value, you can do that. Or you can just click the link in the description that I'll leave you guys with every episode, as per usual. But yeah, it's time for lots of Ditto Glitching. I don't think that I caught a single Pokemon from the rest of the Pokedex from here on out without Ditto Glitching, except Eevee, because you don't really have to work to get Eevee at all. I'll show you how to get that in a little bit. Now, some of the Pokemon in here that I Ditto Glitched for, I kind of got lazy, and you could potentially get them through alternate means, but this is just the easiest way that I know of to do it. That, and surprisingly, it takes less time to do it. So, just a heads up, you don't have to do it my way, but my way works. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to conform or anything. Totally up to you guys. But that's just what I did. So catch yourself a Magmar. Catch yourself a Magmar. It's the weirdest name ever, but it sounds so beastly, and I have no idea why. Whatever. Maybe that's just me. I'm kind of, I don't know, feeling really weird today because I just basically slept forever last night. In case you're wondering, March Madness is going on right now, which is awesome. But when you are 12 hours ahead of all the games, it makes it very hard to watch them unless you jackal your sleep schedule like nobody's business. So I stayed up way too late last night watching way too much basketball. And yeah, it's consequently messed me up a little bit. So if I'm acting weird, that's why. Now, this route that I'm showing you in the Safari Zone is I'm showing you specifically to go to the third area. So if you want to call like the first place you go into the entrance and the second one Area 1, you want to end in Area 2. Make sure that you find a wild Pokemon there first so that you can copy the Pokemon data. Because you can only get Tauros, I think, in that zone and in the third area. That's why Tauros is so hard to catch in the Safari Zone, because not only does he not pop up ever, but he also takes like forever to get to. So by the time you get to him, you've wasted essentially half your time in there. So yes, make sure that you end in the second zone, because otherwise you will not be able to catch him outside of the Safari Zone. And it will take you forever to get him if you want to do it legitimately. Aren't you glad we have workarounds? Speaking of Eevee, if you fly to Celadon City and go up to the top area of the town, there's a back door to this apartment complex-like building. And in this little room, there's a Pokeball sitting on the table, which apparently this guy doesn't give two flying whatevers about, because you can just take it and run away with it. And you got yourself an Eevee. Woohoo! No effort involved. I just used the Water Stone because it was the next one in order on the Pokedex. You don't really have to go with Vaporeon. I don't know if it'll be any easier to Ditto Glitch into one or the other, but I do know that Jolteon and Flareon from memory are right next to each other in terms of special values. If I remember correctly, Flareon is 103 and Jolteon is 104. So if you want to do it that way, you could just use a Water Stone on your Eevee, get a Vaporeon, use rare candies and calciums to get a Pokemon up to 103 special value, and then use another calcium and then just do the Ditto Glitch all over again. Save yourself a bunch of time with trying to manipulate special values like I did. That kind of sucked when I found out that I had to be one lower for Flareon, even though it comes next in the Pokedex. So yeah, that's just a thought on strategy. You don't have to do it in exact order, but I'm just, for the sake of consistency and, I guess, aesthetic value, or whatever, I'm just doing everything in order, regardless of how much more difficult it makes it. So yeah, that's my plan of attack. And yay, more Ditto Glitching. More Ditto Glitching. So after you Ditto Glitch for those two other Eevee evolution Pokemon that you need to get, you're going to have to Ditto Glitch one more time minimum. And if you don't want to spend 5 hours mashing the A button for your emulator, buying coins at the game corner for a Porygon, you can just Ditto Glitch for that one too. Because in theory, if you were following exactly what I was doing, you should have left plenty of trainers over there on that route between Lavender and Fuchsia City. In theory. You guys should pay attention. I'm thinking ahead here, trying to help you guys out. But if you didn't, that's okay. In blue version, it actually may be a little faster, just because for whatever reason in blue version he's not ungodly expensive. I think he costs 6,500 coins in blue, but in red he costs the absolute maximum, which is 9,999. So if you want to do the math on that, assuming that you have absolutely no coins, you're going to have to mash your A button or whatever over the course of 200 different transactions. Because you can only buy them in 50 at a time, which is the most stupid thing ever. I really don't know why they couldn't have at least implemented it like a mart or something, or how many times 50 or how many times 10 do you want to buy your coins? I don't know. Instead of having to have us sit there basically destroying the buttons on our Game Boy for 2 or 3 hours at a time, I think you'd just make it a little bit easier. I mean, it's not like anybody's going to actually try and play slot machines that much to actually get it, because it's impossible. Yeah. I don't know. That kind of made me frustrated when I was going to get Porygon. Like, man, it's lesser of two evils. So you can either waste a bunch of time Ditto glitching, or you can waste even more time mashing on the A button trying to buy your way into it. So yeah, it's definitely the most annoying one on the Pokedex, in my opinion, to get. Yeah, we got a Flareon. I'm already jumping ahead in the Pokedex, and now we're like finally caught up to where it's going to be. I'm pretty sure Porygon is next, but I could be wrong. My memory doesn't serve me quite as well as it did when I was a child of 8 or 9 years old. Yeah, it's definitely Porygon. So the special value you're going to need for Porygon is 170. I just happened to get my Articuno up there perfectly, so now he gets some FaceTime. Hooray, fan service for Articuno. And yeah, that's about it. More Ditto glitching and more downtime. The amount of Ditto glitching in this episode really sucks. Just because, like, it's easy for me to progress from one Pokemon to the next when I don't have to spend that much time covering how to get them. Like, if I just walk over and fish somewhere or run in a patch of grass until I find something, that's no big deal. It doesn't take me that long to cover, but when I just have to say, you're going to Ditto glitch for this, and you're going to Ditto glitch for that, over and over again, there's just so much downtime here that I'm just constantly trying to think of something to fill it out, so that way you're not just staring at a screen with nothing coming out of your speakers for 2 minutes at a time. Just awkward silence. I don't know. I'm trying really hard to keep you guys engaged here. But I tell you, it's just so repetitive at this part of the Pokedex. And oh my god, Porygon. I don't know how you could have made that guy look any freakier than that. That thing scares me. How much? Just the face, the big giant eyes on that Porygon. It's just, ugh. It gives me the heebie-jeebies or whatever you call them. It's just, ugh. I hate the way that looks. I absolutely hate the way that they did the art for that in this game. Now, if you took the wrong fossil like I did and you have an Ammonite, give him a few rare candies and you have an Amistar, you'll have to Ditto glitch for the other one depending on which one you chose. Kabuto is easy to Ditto glitch for, or easier to Ditto glitch for, so if you haven't started your game yet and you're just watching the end for some reason, or you have the ability to go back in time and change your decision, definitely take the Ammonite because it pays off in the long run. I kind of didn't realize it at the time, but it definitely serves you more. So yeah, advice from Maximilian, except it's like 35 episodes late. Sorry guys. Anywho, the special value that you need for Kabuto is 90. Go get yourself a Ditto, as per usual, and do the whole thing, blah blah blah. Eventually you'll catch it. A few rare candies later, and that thing is a Kabutops, which, oddly enough, goes from possibly one of the most retarded-looking Pokemon in the whole game to just this embodiment of sheer badassery. I don't know how much more you could possibly improve on a Pokemon, but he's definitely the most improved in my book. He gets a gold star. You go, Kabutops. You go. So, we officially have 150 Pokemon on our Pokedex at this moment, but we are not done yet. We still have the one and only Mewtwo to get, so that's what you get to look forward to next episode. And I have a special surprise planned for you, so please be sure to tune in for that. I think you'll enjoy it. We're not quite done with the game yet. Mewtwo is not the end of this. So, stay tuned. It'll be up within the next few days. I look forward to seeing you guys then. And happy Ditto glitching. See ya.